You got Magnum Mac with you on Birds 365, and we have the man, the myth, the legend, live from his car. Why, every time Bob Grotz joins us, do I think of the Cash Cab? Either one of you guys watch that show?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Hey, do I have time to put? Do I have time to put some lipstick on?
Lipstick? No, the guy in the Cash Cab would never. He's a tough New Yorker.
Isn't it Ben Brown or something?
Yeah.
Ben,
I love that show. I love.
So do I.
Cash
That's a
Cab.
compliment I'm paying you, Bob Grotz, that you remind me of the Cash Cab guy.
Throw out the questions. I'm ready. Yeah, 500.
For $500, here is the next question. Kellen Moore will be a perfect fit with the Philadelphia Eagles and Nick Sirianni in the new Eagle offense. Can't get this one wrong. It's an opinion question. Yay or nay, that the hire of Kellen Moore was a good one by the Eagles this weekend?
False.
Ooh.
Why? I don't know if people, his offense in both Dallas and in LA with the Chargers, it's an interesting offense, but it exposes the quarterback to hits. It truly does. There's a lot of hot reads and stuff. Unless, if it's going to be his offense, and I think it is. Listen to Nick. It exposes. You go back and look at the injuries to Herbert and to Dak with in the Kellen Winslow offense. It's interesting. I happened to be at Merrill Reese's conference championship party yesterday, and
nice.
Ate so much I can't even get into my jeans today.
I didn't get the invite. What the hell's up with Merrill? Come on, I didn't get that invite.
Neither did I, big guy.
Well, I didn't either. I crashed the party. I went up to the front door asking for directions. So they. But
good job.
Yeah. So, I'm talking about that there, and the guys there. I should say, Merrill loves the guy. He thinks he's a perfect fit. And I told him, he's a perfect fit if you want to expose your quarterback to a lot of hits. They're going to have to do something with that because you can't just. Hurts is you're going to live and die with Hurts, just like they lived and they died with Dak. And even if you look at the numbers of the quarterbacks, Herbert, he got hurt. He played 4 fewer games this past year than he did the previous 2 seasons. In LA. Played all 17, right? That to me, that's the offense. You can get hurt. I understand, injuries and all that stuff. But this offense, man, he takes some unnecessary hits, in my opinion. And so did Dak, who went from 20 and 15, something like that, with touchdowns and interceptions 2 years ago to like 36 and 9 this year. I don't think it's. It's going to be fun to see how this thing unfolds, but you cannot expose the guy to hits, especially not after you paid him all that money. And he is the man.
Well, the one thing about Kellen Moore's offense is, Bob, they do what the Eagles didn't do this year. So is this the typical Jeffrey Lurie overreaction? He flips on WIP. They can't deal with the blitz. Kellen Moore was number 1 against the blitz in Dallas's last season there. They never used motion. Kellen Moore's top 10 using motion. Is this the typical sort of pendulum swing back to what you don't do because Jeffrey's not happy?
I see that. I see some of that. And they definitely they got to use motion. And they started using it later in the year, but it didn't look like
meaningless motion.
Yeah, it didn't seem to have a purpose.
You could argue, and even at times the teams that use it really well, like San Francisco, we saw yesterday. There's a bunch of times they just use motion for motion's sake, and there's no real design behind it other than trying to.
Yeah, it helps you identify what defense
the
opponent is in and what they're going to play. I think somebody pointed that out when Kansas City did it. The defense starts moving around, and
you're testing the eye discipline of the defense, basically.
Absolutely, and you're figuring out what play you're going to go into. But that's for a real advanced guy like Mahomes. So, and a guy like that could do it. Could Hurts do that? Yeah.
I was going to say, isn't that kind of a challenge to Jalen to become that guy?
Oh,
Advanced
absolutely.
guy, be able to think on his feet guy, be able to read more succinctly than he did this past year. That's not too much. Should they still be babying Ertz?
No, I think that's a great point there, and I think he could do that. You know, it doesn't have to be. I mean, motion. It takes a little while to do it, like as well as Mahomes does it, obviously. But that will help. Hurts is he's a student of the game. That would help him identify the defenses and where to go with the ball. And I think you know, watching Mahomes yesterday, and just another sparkling lesson in where to go with the ball. I mean, it's just unreal, unscripted, scripted. The guy just found the open man, and for the
Andy's a big part of that as well. I mean, Andy's a big part. I think Andy deserves his flowers today. But one of the things you brought up, hot routes, because that's another issue. The Cowboys were really good at it with Kellen Moore. But that's about on the field. That's about
really
teaching
good.
stuff and during the week. That on the field, that's the quarterback and the receiver recognizing and being on the same page.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But you know, you say really good. I don't know how good they were.
Well, they were number 1 in 2022 against the Blitz.
Look at their record. I mean, you know, I mean, what did that get them? And Dak got beat up too. So I don't, you know, and they had a pretty good run game too. So I am really. It's going to be fun to see, you know, how they use this offensive line that maybe underperformed a little last year, how they mesh that with a run game. And to me, if you look at the playoffs here, it's clear that, you know, the run game is, you know, I know we have arguments about this, John, but you got to be able to run the ball.
Well, you got to be able to run the ball in December. Nobody cares until December.
In January, I mean,
December.
Look at Baltimore. Baltimore, to me, they, you know, it was a great game plan by not only Andy Reid but Spagnuolo. I mean, he just dared Lamar to beat him from the pocket, and they took it up. You know, I thought Lamar would run some more. He was effective when he did, but they just abandoned the run, and it was still a close game. And it was
they make plays. Flowers gets the football in. Lamar doesn't.
They get 2 touchdowns. You're right.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't even have that margin of victory.
Can I ask a question of you two astute football minds? Because I'm sounding like a broken record with this, and I know people are probably tired of hearing it, but it continues to boggle my mind. How does Kelce get as wide open as he is? He's not running a 4.5 40 anymore. He's not 22 years old anymore. I give her credit to Rashee Rice. He really has stepped up and become a viable, very viable second option. And Marcus Valdez-Scantling made a nice catch yesterday. We dropped the football all year long. You know he's the guy. How is a defense as good as Baltimore's allow him? He's targeted 11 times yesterday. Now, he made the one unbelievable catch over Kyle Hamilton who had perfect coverage. That's just a great athletic play and a great throw by a great quarterback. I get it. But on those other 10 catches, he was wide open like 7 times. How do you allow a guy like Kelce to get open in the Kansas City? If they had to, like San Francisco's got more weapons. They got McCaffrey coming out of Bath and Ayuk and Kittle and Debo. So that's really difficult to defend. You got Travis Kelce and, Rashee Rice. They didn't throw the ball out of the backfield to anybody yesterday. How does he get as wide open as he does? It continues to boggle my mind, Bob Grotz. Please explain.
Yeah. Well, and not only does he get wide open, he gets wide open right where he needs to be, right at the sticks for a first down in the end zone, you know? I mean, it just that's got to be, you know, that's preparation. And he has a chemistry, let's face it, with Mahomes. Those two guys, they can look at they read the defenses the same way. But you're right. I mean, he does not run like he used to. He's
but yet there's separation on every single play. How do you not have 2 guys on him?
And that thing I was just talking about, like, it's just amazing. He's like a video how to do it tape about where to go, where the sticks are. Make sure you're at the sticks. That is just that should be required viewing, you know, by all the receivers.
Yeah, he just beat Jerry Rice's playoff record. That's amazing. And he had, I think, 11 targets yesterday, 11 receptions.
Yep.
But, for all the talk, the Ravens defense played well enough to win.
They did,
Certainly
especially
Kyle
in the
Hamilton.
half.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. So Steve Spagnuolo does deserve a lot of credit. Now, since we're talking defense, I got to get Vic Fangio info from you, Bob.
I think that's a great hire. I like that. I know
You
you
like
don't
it?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't like the scheme. Here's the thing.
Yeah, I think he's the Jim Johnson of this era.
Ooh, that's high praise.
I mean,
And he did change. He changed against that game plan he put together. It was one game, but even against the Eagles, he had real good game plans with limited personnel, a ton of injuries, and he had them in that game in Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City doesn't score a lot of points, but they were still in the game until late, and Kansas City's defense was killing Tua. So I mean, they were going 3 and out. But his blitzing, I mean. And people think that he doesn't blitz. He
doesn't blitz a lot. He blitzes less than the Eagles.
He did against
this
Mahomes
year
in the playoffs.
Well, he had a top 10 defense statistically with the Dolphins. Had some injuries late, but they were the 22nd, I think, ranked scoring defense. And he's been a defensive play caller, I believe, for 23 or 24 years, somewhere in that range. Very long time, almost a quarter century. He's got top 5 defense 5 times in 23 years. The last great defense he had was in Chicago, where they were number 3. If you go back to 2022, the Eagles were number 2. Have the Eagles hyped this guy up too much? Are people going to see this and expect the savior? And the numbers say it's probably not going to be that, especially with this personnel.
It'll be a good defense. It might not be that right away. The back end of that defense is just bereft of talent. I mean, they have
that's part of the problem.
And even if you start looking at those Georgia defensive tackles, I mean, they need to step up. Those guys,
well, they definitely
ran out of gas. I mean,
you got to build on those guys. You got to build the foundation on those guys.
They're gonna let Fletcher Cox go probably in free agency, and I think he is. I think this guy's legit. I think he's really good, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, John. He's going to have guys, and they're not going to. This defense with Vic Fangio, it's not going to beat itself. Not like well,
if you're going to run the scheme, I've said pretty consistently, this is the guy you want to run this scheme. My question is, do you want to keep running this scheme? That's my question.
Yeah, but here's my question about you guys. If not Fangio, then who? Do we want to go Wink Martindale? Really?
No.
I know it would be the most popular hire here in Philadelphia because he's blitz crazy, but is that where you wanted to go?
Yeah, they don't have personnel to do that either. They don't have the blitzers. Yeah, you need some real quality guys, at linebacker and in the secondary to pull that off. I don't see that on their team,
I don't criticize the Eagles because they wanted experience. They didn't want a young guy. I would prefer, if you're asking me, Jody, I'd prefer the next young guy who's got innovative, the Ben Johnson of defense. Find me that guy. I don't know, maybe Evero. He seems to be well regarded, but the Eagles wanted experience. If they want experience, you can't get better than this guy. So I don't criticize the hire. And everybody loves him here. Jeffrey loves him. Howie loves him. Nick loves him.
The guy.
They took their shot with the young guy last hire with Sean Desai. He had only been a
that's why they're not going to do it.
So you knew that it was coming. They weren't going to go down that road. They wanted an experienced guy, and Fangio's the best of that lot.
Yeah, I no question in my mind. I mean, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised that I don't think that he's very adaptable.
I think they'll be better taught. I will say that. I don't think you'll see as many communication issues on the defensive side of the ball. Guys blowing coverages all over the place.
Just simply guys lining up for start.
Yeah, there we go.
Lining up where they're supposed to be. How can you tackle if you're not in position? I mean, at the end of the year, it was pathetic. I mean, guys, Eagles bumping into each other, because they're out of position to begin with. and blocking each other and taking each other out of the play. You know, I mean, that was the worst Eagles defense I've seen in 30 years covering the.
What about Bill Davis? A lot of people forget the Bill Davis, Chip Kelly era. They had some bad defenses.
Yeah, but that was skewed by the fast break offense. You know, that defense was gassed.
It's like having Doug Moe as your basketball coach. Yeah.
Who was the guy? Kerry? What was his?
Kerry Williams.
Kerry Williams on the outside.
Sconces. Yeah. Had to
he
go.
right? Was he
had to
right
go
about that?
sconce shopping. Yeah, he was completely right. Kerry Williams.
4 games into the season, our legs are dead.
Yeah. Jason Peters was just he was not happy with Chip Kelly anyway.
All right, question for you, Mr. Grotz. Opening week next week, Philadelphia Eagles, the Vic Fangio defense ready to roll. Will James Bradbury be one of the starting cornerbacks?
Yeah, good question. I don't know how much money they'd have to eat and how big a consideration that would be. That's a lot of money, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
They can spread it out over 2 years. They can make it a post June 1st cut.
I think they got to move on. I think they got to move on from one of them. And I don't think they're moving on from Slay. So
cornerbacks just don't grow on trees. I mean, I think he would definitely play better with Fangio back there. And you can't. I mean, and you're gonna laugh at me again, Jody. You can't blame this all on Bradbury. I mean, he was the only guy that played most of the year or played the whole year back
and he was accountable. He admitted. I love James Bradbury. Just great guy.
Yeah, he had a really bad year.
Yeah, a bad year.
Yeah, his legs were dead. I mean, he was playing hurt too. So, but I think he'd probably be better than what you got. So, are you going to take a cap hit? I don't know. But they need help. They need safeties. I mean, let's be honest about that. That's a huge need. They're going to have to go out and find a couple of.
Could have had Kyle Hamilton a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
but, went a different direction.
Jordan Davis, right?
Yeah, Jordan Davis here. Jason Kelce, you mentioned
and the
a little
funny thing
bit.
about, could I just add this because I remember it distinctly. The Raven fans who are now living large with Kyle Hamilton. If the Eagles hadn't traded up to get in the position that they did, the Ravens would have taken Jordan Davis.
Yes, they would.
They absolutely were. Kyle
have.
Hamilton was their secondary choice because the Eagles got in position to take Jordan.
That's the reason they traded up.
We knew Kyle Hamilton. What a genius selection, Kyle. No, he wasn't. Your general guy was going to take the same guy the Eagles took, except the Eagles beat.
That is hilarious.
That is the reason they traded up. Yes, because they knew the Ravens were taking Jordan Davis.
Luck. They ended up with the Pro Bowl guy. Yeah.
Yep. All right, you've been here since day one. You talked a little. I think Fletcher might retire.
I think he's coming back. But I think
Jason Kelce, you've been here from day one.
Yeah.
Is he retired? He talked to Olivia yesterday. Olivia went down, Reiner from the Inquirer. She was in Baltimore. He talked to her. He's leaving it open still. Is that just because Travis is still playing? Is he coming back? Because I got the feeling he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, with that blog or blogcast, whatever, what do they have? What do they
podcast?
Blogcast, yeah. They're saving something from an announcement for that. Who knows? You know what? Maybe his brother retires too.
No, he already said he's coming back. But maybe he wins. Travis said he was coming back. Yeah.
Before the end of last year, I think things could change. You know, and
if he wins again, he's got Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and if she dumps him, he can always come back to football. You know, like. If he needs something to do,
like Gronk come out of retirement.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I guess that's a possibility. I'm on record. Both Kelce's play from day one next year. Nobody's retiring. Jason's not retiring.
Oh, wow.
And here's the difference with me with Jason. Had the Eagles made a run, if they won the Super Bowl, then he walks off into the sunset. Nobody argues that. But if they had advanced in the playoffs, got into a championship game, maybe went back to the Super Bowl, lost again, lost to his brother again, then I think he could have walked away. They folded. Their season ending was an abomination. Jason Kelce want to go out on that note? The career that he's had here in Philadelphia, gonna be a Hall of Famer, probably first ballot. And oh, by the way, his team lost 6 of their last 7 games, and they were ugly as all get out. You want to end your career on that final paragraph? I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think he's coming back.
I don't even know that they get in the playoffs next year. Do you? They may win.
Boy,
this
if they don't make the playoffs next year,
I don't know, man.
we're doing this again, man. Everything is gutted. Everything is gutted.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you look at the teams in the Final Four. Did the Eagles beat any of them the way that they were playing? I mean, and I know you could talk.
Oh, they could be right back. You make good decisions. This league is
Final Four of all
the
National
NFL,
Football League,
yeah.
just the NFC.
I don't see it.
You got to get through the NFC first. So,
and another thing we haven't talked about, I think they need a right tackle.
Not yet, but
yeah, I think
Lane's coming back.
I think he wore down. I think they need to, maybe this draft you can get somebody like that.
Well, you always want to draft the guy early.
Yeah, well,
you want to draft the guy early.
If they need to, with all they have to do during this offseason, you're saying right tackle is a position they need to address? Holy mackerel!
They're showing some age, and
they might already have the answer at right tackle after Lane Johnson. You never know with Tyler Steen. They think he's going to be a guard, but he seems better at tackle to me. And who knows? He might develop.
Tyler Steen, he's going to be their left guard, their right guard this year. You're right that Jason Kelce's walking away, that means Jurgen's going to center, means Steen's going in the guard.
I say put Landon Dickerson in the middle. He was the Remington Award winner. He'd be great there. Guy remembers every line call that was since the time he got here. Very, very smart.
Yeah, he played some center this year when Cam was hurt.
And then you could put Steen at left guard, or
But they don't want to move Landon away from Jordan. They're like best friends. They're thick as thieves, and they destroy sides in the running game.
I think Landon Dickerson would give him just a huge advantage in the middle and in the interior of that line, and that's a real critical area. Look at some of the teams that made it, to the Final Four, and look at their interior. I know there was an injury on
Joe Thuney was hurt.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't matter. Kansas City wins anyway.
Mahomes, yeah, but very strong up the middle. They had a great pivot. So did Baltimore, and I'm not sure that maybe Cam Jurgens.
Yeah, Tyler Linderbaum. He's a good player at Baltimore. But
Jurgens did all right at right guard.
Frank Ragnow is tremendous. Always banged up, but he's tremendous with Detroit. San Francisco, I forget their center's not great. Who is it? Brendel? He's not great, but most of them have really good centers.
Yeah, I think the Eagles have to go back to the playoffs next year. If not, Bird Street.
Oh, they're button. They're Sirianni's gone. Moore's gone. Vic, he might retire. He's 65.
And he's going in. He's kind of a lame duck going in here too.
Oh yeah, he's not kind of
emasculated with these coordinator changes.
Jody likes hot seat, whatever you want to call it. Lame duck.
Yeah, lame duck when you got 2 years to go on your deal. I'm sorry, you can't use.
Well, that's semantics. He's coaching for his job. Is the point? There's no doubt about it. He's coaching for his job.
Even the free agents can look at the writing on the wall. They're going to go, do I want to go here? Do I want to sign like a 3 or 4 year deal with this team?
If they're giving the most money, yeah.
Oh yeah, it all comes down to the best deal.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's just that. I think they can get the money somewhere else. But do I want to go to this situation where I don't even know who the head coach could be? That's kind of uneasiness that is very un-Eagle like. In the past few years.
Well, that's what happens when you take the power away from the head coach. Point at Jeffrey Lurie there, Bob. He took the power away from the head coach. So they're in this position because of Jeffrey Lurie. By the way, who should have been up there answering questions last week, Bob? Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think that would have been good. Yeah, especially in light of the status of Nick. Now, in fairness, they never said that they were going to. I mean, it was.
No, but but it's pretty clear he took away some autonomy from Nick Sirianni, and he's the one doing it, so he should be the one answering the question.
He's never been a vote of confidence guy, like some other people. And then, those votes of confidence, as soon as they give them, like you can just count the days until whoever it is gets axed, So
Here's the one defense I'll give of Jeff Lurie, and know full well I've got tongue partially implanted in cheek here. If you put Jeff up there, then you're just making Nick Sirianni out to be a bigger liar than he already is.
yeah,
Because there are going to be questions that are asked that Nick's going to have to lie about, because he's not going to go, well, Jeff just stripped me. He's not going to say that with Jeff sitting right next to him. So he's going to have to lie. And we saw all his lies this year. And you need a coach who the players have to look at him and go, are you lying to me again?
Yeah.
So you couldn't put Sirianni in that position.
I thought he was candid at this thing. As candid,
he tried to be. He tried to be as candid as he could be.
More open than I've seen him. Yeah. So it was kind of like he had some kind of understanding with Howie. Like, all right, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down swinging. I'm going to make. I'm going to let people know what my decision. I got that.
If you're going to go down swinging, you're out. Went down swinging. Doug Peterson went down swinging. Sirianni said, "Okie doke. I'm going to take my medicine."
Yeah, I don't think Doug had a great plan, and he also had Carson Wentz thing working against him. That's not good.
Well, they got rid of Carson.
Yeah. I mean, but
Jalen loves Doug Peterson.
Yeah,
Jalen loves Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
At Bob Grotz,
he wasn't
the great Bob Grotz
in that
Delco Times. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob.
He wasn't real happy in that last Doug Peterson game against Washington.
No, he wasn't.
Got pulled for Nate Sudfeld. Remember that?
Come on, the great Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah.
The unstoppable. No, that's what Jeffrey called him.
Great
the
Nate.
Unstoppable.
All right.
Nate Sudfeld.
All right.
Delco Times. Make sure you read Bob. Say hi to Merrill Reese when you're hobnobbing next time with him at the party.
Yeah. What party are you going to this week? Or Super Bowl? Whose Super Bowl party are you going to, Grotz?
There is a Pro Football Report Tuesday at Parks Casino.
Parks Casino.
Yeah.
Pro Football Report with
we will
Merrill, Bob Grotz. Do you have a special guest lined up yet?
We're working on that. We unfortunately had a cancellation.
Guys have scrambled from not a lot. Yeah.
It might be Jody Mack, but don't tell him I said that. Yeah, we made
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Grotz,
Jody might be at Parks anyway. Just grab him.
For you, as long as you get me out before the 6th race. For you, anywhere, buddy. I'll show up anywhere for you, Grotz. Bobby, thanks, bud. Talk to you.
Thanks,
Bob Grotz, Delco Times. He was on Birds 365. Yeah. Have to twist my arm mightily to go up to Parks. All right, McDonald McMullen coming back to put a bow on the show here on Birds 365.